So good morning or evening, depending on your time zone. My name is Laurane, and we are a team here with Gwenaël, also Paula and Tadeya. We are PhD students, both in astrophysics and in geoscience. And today we are going to introduce an index that we have built. So this is a PLEES index, and it takes into account, it's linking the psychological, sociological, and economic state of society to climate change. And so first of all, just to give a brief context. So Paris Agreement have been signed in 2015 by 195 countries. And it's basically giving target for the global mean temperature increase by 2100. And the target that was optimistic was 1.5 degrees, but now in 2021, we are already at a projection increase in temperature of 1.2 degrees warming. And with the current policies and actions that are taken right now, the targeted temperature is predicted to be around 3 degrees. And so we have been reflecting on ways to act at our scale.
So to answer the question, how can we act as astronomers? Let's first look at a topic from the sociological context called the social tipping point. In his book, Malcolm Gladwell defines the social tipping point as the magic moment where an idea, trend, or social behavior crosses a threshold and starts to spread like wildfire. So that is when an idea suddenly becomes well known by everyone, or something is done by everyone. In his book, he describes that this tipping point depends on three main factors. The first one is the law of the few. And that says that these ideas are usually driven by a small group of people who have a very particular set of social skills. We'll get back to those in a minute. The second point is that an idea has to have a certain stickiness to it, a certain memorability. Because if an idea becomes too hard to understand, or if it is not memorable, then people will not think of it again and it can't spread as well. The third one is the power of context. And this is the environment in which the idea is introduced. We live in a certain environment and we react to it. But you just need to open a single newspaper to see that the environment is already set for climate change. So let's look back at this first point, the law of the few. These few can be divided into three groups. The first one are the mavens. These are the people who have the knowledge and the skills to process information and come up with new ideas, these out-of-the-box ideas, and turn these ideas into messages. But of course, these messages need to be spread to different people. This is where the connectors come in. They are the people who know a lot of people from various groups and backgrounds, and they will share the idea to all of these different layers of society. And lastly, we have the salesmen. These are the people who will convince the unconvinced, and they will share the idea, show it why it is better or true. Now, where do we fit in this as astronomers? Well, we are both the mavens because we have the knowledge to take very abstract concepts and turn them into understandable topics. Like, for example, here we see a few, the evolution of stars, black holes, or gravitational waves, which are really tricky topics, but we have had a long experience to turn these into understandable ideas that a lot of people not only understand, but are also fascinated about. We are also, in a sense, the salesman, because we can persuade people of these topics and show them why it's important or why it's interesting. So we've got the setting, the environment set, and we also have the people. So now let's have a look at how to make our ideas stick and make it memorable.
Because Maslow's pyramid captures the degree of development of the society, we have decided to use this pyramid as a tool to represent the psychological, social, and economical impact of climate change worldwide. Maslow argued that human motivation is driven by needs and identified 5 levels of human needs. This figure shows the original one, and this pyramid starts from the lowest level where basic or psychological needs are found. Once these primary needs have been satisfied, you can move up to the pyramid to the highest level, where one aspires to develop personal satisfaction and fulfillment. To achieve our objective, we have modified the levels of the pyramid, each of them related to different climatic phenomena that are strongly linked according to the specialist. As the first indicator, we choose the poverty rate and we link it to the droughts. The second stage of the pyramid is the life expectancy, linked to the heat waves. For the third step, we use the employment rate, linked to the humidity and the temperature. And finally, we decided to merge the two last levels into one index for simplicity, and this is the satisfaction with life index, linked to the degree months. Our final index, called the PLEES index, is simply defined as the sum of the 4 previously defined indexes.
So if we now move on to results, we define all these indexes and normalize them for simplicity. So each individual PLEES index ranges from 0 to 1. So the sum will go from 0 to 4. And what we have computed is, for the present day, we've computed this index based on the available data in the literature, and it is presented here. So what you can see in the yellow shades, close to 4, the PLEES index of 4, we see countries that are strongly developed, where people have satisfied all their basic needs and are moving up the pyramid of needs. Therefore, people living in countries that are more green, bluish shades are striving to satisfy their more basic needs. And what we can do now that we have understood, that we have quantified some of these climate phenomena, is we can look into different climate change scenarios based on the degree of warming at the turn of the century, as Laurane introduced earlier. And we can look how the different climate scenarios will affect the PLEES index. How will the people's needs change as a result of the different climate change and our action or inaction? So to do that, we computed for now the RCP according to the RCP 4.5 scenario at the turn of the century in 2090. So in 2090, this is how the pyramid, this is how the needs will change according to our PLEES index. So you can maybe slightly see already that a lot of the European countries, especially in the south, have now become slightly more greener, meaning the needs that the people feel that they are satisfying are slightly lower than presently. This is a trend that's also mimicked in the more developed countries. However, this is maybe a bit tricky to really appreciate. So we've also created kind of like a difference map. And here it is even more apparent which countries in the brown shades will see their effectively their needs, they're going down in the pyramids, the needs and their quality of life decreasing as a result of climate change. Here I have to point out that the RCP 4.5 is the scenario that is currently based on the current climate policies and the CO2 emission, as well as warming, global warming temperature, most likely scenario. And you can still see that at the turn of the century, especially in the well-developed countries, but globally on average, the people will move down the pyramid and will again see the need to satisfy more basic needs than in 2020 as a result of climate change. There are certain countries that will most likely be doing a bit better, but that is also related with how the growth of the world will go, how the gross domestic product will change, and the movement of people. So it's a bit more complex to elaborate, but the main trends are there.
Okay, so yes. Now, regarding the relevance to astrophysics, so as Gwenaëlle said it earlier, I mean, astrophysics is a very fascinating area for the public in general. And as astronomers, we take a lot of actions into outreach, and we are trusted, and we have a broad range of both knowledge and also like international communities. So one question that we would like to ask with this, with our study is, can we be connectors in interdisciplinary studies, and can we take part into more interdisciplinary projects in order to like spread knowledge about climate change and maybe help our colleagues that are climate scientists into like spreading information in a very efficient way? Also, something that will impact us directly is like, because of this of climate change, there will be a lot more of extreme weather events, and this will have a strong impact on observations. So how to prepare the community to this change? Can we anticipate it, and how can we be prepared? And finally, what we have shown with our index is that there will be an overall decrease in prosperity, and yeah, the hierarchy of needs of countries in general will be shifted towards the first step of the pyramid. So this decrease in prosperity could lead to a decrease in funding in many different projects, and probably the astrophysical community will be impacted also by this. So how can we prepare and anticipate all of this? So with this, we would like to start maybe a discussion on the connection with our role into interdisciplinary studies. And yes, so we are very happy to introduce for the first time our index, PLEES, and our